You wouldn't even have a roof over your head without me, babe. That's what Marcus said to me at my own promotion party, champagne glass raised, smirk plastered across his face like he just delivered the punchline to the world's funniest joke. 43 people heard it. 43 people saw me standing there in my new blazer, the expensive one I'd saved 3 months for, holding a glass of Prosecco that suddenly felt too heavy in my hand. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even correct him. I just smiled. And that smile? That was the beginning of the end. Let me back up. My name is Jordan Hayes, and 6 months before that night, I thought I'd found the one. Marcus Chin walked into the coffee shop where I was working on a Saturday morning, back when I was still juggling 2 jobs and online classes for my real estate license, and ordered an oat milk latte with the confidence of a man who'd never been told no. He wore a tailored navy suit even though it was 9 a.m. on a weekend. His watch caught the light. Everything about him screamed success, and I was 27, exhausted, and lonely enough to think that mattered. "You look too smart to be working here," he said, leaning against the counter. It was a terrible line. I should have known then. But he was charming. God, was he charming. He asked about my studies. Remembered my name when he came back the next weekend. Invited me to dinner at a place with cloth napkins and waiters who said certainly sir instead of sure thing, dude. I fell for it. All of it. My background wasn't like his. I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment with my mom and younger brother after dad left. Mom worked doubles at the hospital. I started working at 15, first babysitting, then retail, then coffee shops and tutoring gigs. I put myself through community college, then state school. Every dollar I earned, I squirreled away. My mom taught me that, save like you'll never work again. Work like you'll never save enough. Marcus grew up in a 5-bedroom house in the suburbs. His dad owned a car dealership. He went to private school, then a good university his parents paid for in full. He worked at his dad's dealership now in management, which seemed to mean he showed up at noon and left by 4. I should have seen the differences as red flags. Instead, I saw them as balance. "You keep me grounded," he'd say, kissing my forehead. "You're real. Everyone else in my life is so fake." By month 3, I'd moved into his apartment. It was nicer than anywhere I'd ever lived, granite countertops, a balcony overlooking the river, a parking spot that cost more per month than my old rent. He insisted I didn't need to pay half. "Consider it my investment in us," he said. I should have known better. I did know better. But I was tired of being broke and alone, and he made me feel like I'd finally made it somewhere that mattered. I kept working though, both jobs. And I kept studying. I passed my real estate exam in month 4. Started working for a small agency, showing properties on weekends, learning the market, building my client list. Marcus thought it was cute. "My little hustler," he'd say, ruffling my hair like I was a child playing store. His friends were worse. There was Damien, who worked in crypto and wouldn't shut up about his portfolio. Alexis, who wore Louboutins to brunch and called everything giving poor. Tyler, who'd failed upward into his family's law firm and treated waitstaff like servants. They tolerated me because I was Marcus's girlfriend. They smiled at me with teeth that had cost their parents thousands. They asked about my little real estate thing with the tone of someone asking about a kindergartner's crayon drawing. I smiled back, nodded, laughed at their jokes, and I saved. Every commission check I earned went straight into my separate savings account, the one Marcus didn't know about. The account I'd opened the day after I moved in with him because my mom's voice echoed in my head. Never be trapped. Never need a man's money to leave. By month 5, I had $15,000 saved. By month 6, $32,000. I lived in his apartment, ate his groceries, let him pay for dinners. Not because I couldn't afford it, but because he insisted, and I was smart enough to redirect every dollar I would have spent into my future. I started looking at properties. Small condos. Starter homes. Anything I could afford with my savings as a down payment and my commission history as proof of income. I met with a mortgage broker, Jennifer, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. "You've got excellent credit," she said, reviewing my application. "Income steady. Debt-to-income ratio is perfect. I can get you pre-approved for $200,000, maybe $250 if we push it." My heart hammered. "Really? Really?" She smiled. "You've done everything right, Jordan. Most people your age have maxed out credit cards and no savings. You're in a better position than clients twice your age." I left her office feeling like I could fly. I didn't tell Marcus. It wasn't a secret, exactly. It just never came up. He never asked about my work beyond surface-level questions. Never asked about my finances. Never seemed to consider that I had a life, a plan, a future that didn't revolve around him. That should have been another red flag. But I was busy. My agency listed a beautiful townhouse in the historic district, brick facade, original hardwood floors, a backyard with a cherry tree. It needed work, but it was priced to sell, and I fell in love the moment I walked through the door. I called Jennifer from the driveway. "Can I see it again?" she asked. "Run the numbers? Please." 3 days later. "We can do this. I'll send over the pre-approval letter. Make your offer." I submitted the offer on a Tuesday morning, sitting in my car outside the coffee shop where I'd met Marcus. The irony wasn't lost on me. By Wednesday afternoon, they'd accepted. I had 30 days to close. I told no one except my best friend Simone and my mom. Simone screamed so loud over the phone, I had to pull it away from my ear. Mom cried. I'm so proud of you, baby, she whispered. You did this all by yourself. I cried too, sitting in my car, clutching my phone, letting 6 years of exhaustion and sacrifice and hope pour out in ugly, shoulder-shaking sobs. Then I wiped my face, fixed my makeup, and went to meet Marcus for lunch. He was 20 minutes late. He always was. Sorry, babe, he said, kissing my cheek. Got held up at the dealership. You know how it is. I didn't, but I smiled. No problem. So listen, he said, flagging down a waiter. My promotion party is in 2 weeks. Saturday night. Big thing at Damien's loft. You'll come, right? Of course. Cool. Wear something nice. Like really nice. Alexis and those girls always look amazing, you know? Something hot flickered in my chest. I always look nice. Yeah, but like. He waved his hand vaguely. You know what I mean. Elevated. These are important people. I took a sip of water to avoid responding. Oh, and can you pitch in for the gift we're getting Damien? It's his birthday too. We're doing like $500 each. $500. For a man I barely knew. For a man who'd once told me my job was basically just Zillow with extra steps. Sure, I said. I Venmo'd him that afternoon. He sent a thumbs up emoji. I added 500 to my mental list of things I'm taking back when this implodes. Because even then some part of me knew. It was already cracking. The party was at Damien's loft in the Arts District. Exposed brick, floor-to-ceiling windows, furniture that cost more than my car. Catering. Open bar. A DJ. At least 60 people milled around holding cocktails and laughing too loud. I wore a black midi dress I'd bought on sale and heels that made my feet scream. I'd done my makeup carefully, curled my hair. I looked good. I knew I looked good. Marcus barely glanced at me when I walked in. Babe. Finally. He was already 2 drinks deep, surrounded by Tyler and Alexis and a few others I didn't recognize. Come meet Derek. He just bought a Porsche. Derek, mid-30s, balding, cologne too strong, shook my hand limply. Marcus says you're in real estate. I am. Cute. My mom did that for a while. It's tough, right? All those hours showing houses to people who can't afford them. I felt Simone's hand on my lower back. She'd come as my emotional support. Bless her. Jordan's doing great, actually, Simone said, her voice honey-sweet and sharp as a blade. Closed 3 deals last month. Oh, nice. Derek said, but his eyes had already moved past me. The night continued like that. Small slights. Subtle dismissals. Marcus pulling me into conversations only to ignore me once I was there. Alexis asking if my dress was vintage in a tone that meant cheap. Tyler making a joke about how Marcus was so generous, letting you live with him rent-free. I nursed a single glass of wine and smiled until my face hurt. Then Marcus stood on a chair. Hey. Hey. He tapped his glass with a fork until the room quieted. I want to say something. Oh God. First of all, thank you all for coming. This promotion means a lot to me, and it's awesome to celebrate with my people. Cheers. Applause. Second, shout out to my boy Damien for letting us trash his place. More cheers. And third, he looked right at me. My stomach dropped. I gotta thank my girlfriend Jordan for, being here. Supporting me. Polite applause. A few whistles. Seriously though, Marcus continued, and his tone shifted. Sharper. You guys don't know this, but Jordan's been grinding. Working her little real estate job, trying to make it, It's cute. It's inspiring. Something in his smile made my skin crawl. But let's be real. He laughed. She wouldn't even have a roof over her head without me, babe. The room went silent. Then someone laughed. Then someone else. I mean, come on, Marcus said, gesturing with his drink. Who do you think pays the rent? The car insurance? The dinners? I'm basically her sugar daddy at this point. Laughter. Loud. Braying laughter. Marcus, dude, you're wild, Damien said, grinning. I'm just saying. Marcus raised his glass. Here's to gold diggers who are at least pretty. He drank. They cheered. And I stood there, holding my wine glass, smiling with every ounce of strength I had, while my entire world tilted sideways. Simone's hand found mine. Squeezed. We're leaving, she whispered. Not yet, I whispered back. Because here's what Marcus didn't know. I'd already scheduled my closing for the following Friday. I'd already transferred the down payment. I'd already planned my exit down to the last detail. He'd just moved up my timeline. I didn't confront Marcus that night. I didn't cry, didn't yell, didn't make a scene. I stood there, nodding and smiling while his friends congratulated him on his honesty and made jokes about me being a kept woman. I endured Alexis touching my arm with fake sympathy and saying, "Oh my God, you must be so grateful for him." I let Tyler clink his glass against mine and say, "Hey, no shame in finding a man who takes care of you. That's smart." When Marcus stumbled over, flushed and grinning and kissed my cheek, I didn't pull away. "You're not mad, are you?" he slurred. I was just joking around. "Of course not," I said. It was funny. His relief was instant. "See? You get it. You're so chill, babe. That's why I love you." He'd never said that before. He said it then, drunk and thoughtless, in a room full of people who thought I was a gold digger. Simone drove me home. I sat in the passenger seat, staring out the window, hands folded in my lap. Say the word, Simone said quietly, and I'll slash his tires. I almost laughed. Almost. No, I said. I have a better idea. The next morning, Marcus didn't remember much. God, I got so wasted, he groaned, stumbling into the kitchen where I was making coffee. Did I do anything embarrassing? I handed him a mug. You made a speech. Oh shit, did I? He grinned. Was it good? It was memorable. He kissed my forehead. You're the best, you know that? I smiled. I'd already texted my mortgage broker. Can we move the closing up? I need to finalize this ASAP. Her response came within minutes. Let me make some calls. I'll see what I can do. By Monday afternoon. We can close Thursday if you can make it work. I took a personal day from the agency. Told Marcus I had a site visit for a client. Thursday morning, I sat in Jennifer's office, signing paper after paper. My hand cramped. My heart raced. The numbers blurred together, loan documents, title transfer, insurance forms, disclosures. Congratulations, Jennifer said, sliding the final document across the desk. You're officially a homeowner. The keys were small and brass and perfect in my palm. I sat in my car afterward and stared at them. My keys. My house. My name on the deed. Jordan Marie Hayes. No one else. I drove to the townhouse. Walked through every room, running my hands along the walls, memorizing the creak of the floorboards, the way the afternoon light filtered through the wavy glass of the original windows. The backyard was overgrown, the kitchen outdated, the bathroom tiles cracked. It was perfect. It was mine. I sat on the floor in the empty living room and called my mom. I did it, I whispered.
She cried.
I cried. When do you tell him? She asked. Soon, I said. Very soon. But I didn't tell Marcus right away. Because in the days after the party, something interesting started happening. Marcus's car, a leased BMW he'd been so proud of, started having issues. The check engine light came on. He complained about a weird noise. Then, one morning, it wouldn't start at all. This is ridiculous, he snapped, slamming his coffee mug down. I just paid for service last month. Maybe you should call the dealership, I suggested. I work at a dealership, Jordan. I know how to handle a car. The car got towed. Came back 2 days later. Then the calls started. Unknown numbers at odd hours. Marcus would glance at his phone, frown, and decline. When I asked about it, he'd shrug. Spam. Annoying as hell. But I noticed he started avoiding his phone when I was around. Started taking calls in the other room, speaking in low, clipped tones. One night, while he was in the shower, his phone buzzed on the nightstand. Final notice. Payment past due. I didn't touch it. Didn't snoop. Just saw. And filed the information away. Marcus's promotion party might have been the inciting incident, but the real unraveling started at brunch 2 Sundays later. Simone, Marcus, me, and a few of his friends, Tyler, Alexis, and a new girl named Brooke who worked in PR and seemed nice enough, gathered at a trendy place downtown. Bottomless mimosas. Avocado toast. The whole aesthetic. Marcus was in a mood. Snapping at the waiter, complaining about the music, scrolling through his phone with a scowl. Babe, you okay? I asked. Fine, he said, not looking up. Tyler leaned back in his chair, smirking. Trouble in paradise? Just work stuff, Marcus muttered. Your dad's dealership? Tyler pressed. Thought you had that on lock. It's complicated. Alexis perked up. Wait, is this about the inventory thing? Marcus's head snapped up.
Who told you about that?
Because some cars got. Alexis. Marcus's voice was ice. Drop it. The table went quiet. Simone caught my eye, raised an eyebrow. I sipped my mimosa. Brooke, bless her, tried to change the subject. So, Jordan, Marcus mentioned you're in real estate? That must be so interesting right now with the market and everything.
It is, I said.
Actually, She's doing great, Marcus interrupted. For a beginner. There it was again. That edge. That casual cruelty disguised as affection. I've closed 15 properties in 6 months, I said evenly. That's above average for first-year agents. Wow, that's amazing, Brooke said. Marcus waved a hand dismissively. It's a small agency. Not like she's working with luxury listings or anything. Simone's fork hit her plate with a sharp clink. Marcus, shut the fuck up. The table froze. Excuse me? Marcus said. You heard me. Simone leaned forward. Stop belittling your girlfriend. It's not cute. It's not funny. It's pathetic. Simone, I started.
No.
She looked at me. I'm done watching this. You work your ass off, and he acts like you're some charity case? Fuck that. Marcus laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, this is rich. Jordan, you're really gonna let your friend talk to me like this? I looked at him. Really looked at him. At the way his jaw clenched. The way his eyes darted around the table, seeking backup. The way his hand trembled slightly as he lifted his drink. He was scared. Not of Simone. Of losing control. She has a point, I said quietly.
His face went red.
Are you serious right now? You called me a gold digger in front of your friends, I said. You constantly downplay my work. You act like I owe you something just because we live together. I pay the rent. I never asked you to. You never offered to split it either. You insisted I didn't need to. The table was silent. Every eye on us. Marcus stood abruptly. I'm not doing this here. We're leaving.
I'm not, I said.
Jordan.
I'm staying.
Enjoy your brunch. He stared at me, waiting for me to fold, to apologize, to follow him like I always did. I took a bite of my eggs Benedict. He left. Tyler and Alexis exchanged glances, then scrambled after him. Brooke stayed. Holy shit, she breathed. Simone raised her mimosa. To Jordan, who finally found her spine. We clinked glasses. And I knew, sitting there, that Marcus would retaliate. I was ready. Marcus didn't come home that night. I didn't call, didn't text, just changed the locks on my new townhouse, the one he didn't know about yet, and started packing my things from his apartment. Slowly, carefully, one box at a time. He finally showed up Monday evening, sheepish and defensive. That was fucked up, he said, dropping his keys on the counter. You embarrassed me. You embarrassed yourself. Jordan, come on. I apologized for the party thing. Why are you still mad? I folded a sweater, added it to the box tucked in the back of the closet. I'm not mad. Then what is this? Some kind of power play. It's called self-respect. He ran a hand through his hair. Look, I've been stressed, okay? Work's been insane. My dad's riding my ass about some inventory bullshit. The car's been a nightmare, and now you're acting like I'm some kind of villain. I'm not acting like anything. You're being cold. I'm being distant. I corrected. There's a difference. He didn't have a response to that. Over the next 2 weeks, I continued packing in secret. A few items here, a few there. My childhood photo albums. My favorite mug. The jewelry my grandmother left me. Anything that mattered disappeared into boxes in my car trunk, then made its way to my new house. I spent my lunch breaks at the townhouse, planning renovations. I measured for furniture. Chose paint colors, soft sage green for the bedroom, warm cream for the living room. I hired a handyman to fix the leaky faucet and patch the cracked tiles. It was coming together. I was coming together. Meanwhile, Marcus was falling apart. The calls increased. Twice, someone knocked on the apartment door while he was out, asking for him by name. I said I didn't know when he'd be back. They left a card. I left it on the counter. Marcus tore it up, without reading it. His friends started acting weird. Damien stopped responding to his texts. Tyler made excuses to skip their usual golf outings. Alexis posted pictures from parties Marcus wasn't invited to. They're being so shady, Marcus complained one night, staring at his phone. What the fuck did I do? You're broke, I thought. And they can smell it. But I said, maybe they're just busy. Busy? We've been friends for years. Things change. He looked at me. You'd never do that, right? Just abandon me? The vulnerability in his voice almost broke me. Almost. I'm still here, aren't I? I said. For now, I didn't add. 2 weeks before the final confrontation, Marcus's car disappeared. Not stolen. Repossessed. I came home to find him sitting on the couch, staring at the wall, empty beer bottle in hand. What happened? I asked, though I knew. They fucking took it, he said. The lease company said I was 3 months behind on payments. Just showed up with a tow truck and took it. How did you get 3 months behind? I don't know. He stood, pacing. I thought I paid. I must have. I don't know. Things got mixed up. Marcus. Don't. His voice cracked. Don't lecture me, okay? Not now. I didn't. I ordered pizza. Sat with him while he drank and spiraled and blamed everyone but himself, the lease company, his dad, his friends, the universe. And I felt nothing. No pity. No anger. Just a cold, crystalline clarity. This was who he'd always been. I'd just been too tired to see it. The next day, while Marcus was at his dad's dealership, presumably getting yelled at, I met with Jennifer one last time. Everything's finalized, she confirmed. The title's transferred, insurance is active, utilities are in your name. You're all set. Thank you, I said. For everything. Are you okay? She asked gently. I smiled. I'm about to be. Marcus's financial collapse became obvious to everyone. At a birthday dinner for Tyler, Marcus awkwardly suggested splitting an appetizer instead of ordering an entree. When the check came, he said he'd forgotten his wallet. Tyler covered him, but the annoyance was clear. Alexis stopped inviting him to things. When he showed up anyway, she'd make pointed comments about being mindful of budgets and not living beyond our means. His dad, apparently, had demoted him at the dealership. Marcus went from management to sales floor. He came home exhausted and humiliated, ranting about being treated like a fucking teenager. Maybe this is good, I offered once. A chance to prove yourself. Prove myself. He laughed bitterly. I'm 32 years old, Jordan. I shouldn't have to prove anything. Everyone has to prove themselves. Not you, apparently. You just smile and show houses and people throw money at you. I set down my book. That's not how it works. Isn't it? You've got it so easy. Living here rent-free, no real expenses. Must be nice. There it was. The resentment that had been building since day one. You insisted I move in, I said. You insisted I didn't need to pay rent. Because I thought you'd be grateful. I am grateful. But that doesn't mean I owe you. Bullshit. He stood. I gave you everything, and you act like I'm some kind of burden. You called me a gold digger in front of 50 people. I was joking. It wasn't funny. The silence that followed was thick and toxic. Marcus grabbed his coat. I'm going to Damien's. Damien hasn't responded to your texts in a week. Then I'll go to a bar. Anywhere's better than here. He slammed the door on his way out. I sat in the silence, listening to my heartbeat slow. Then I texted Simone. It's time. Her response was immediate. Finally. I'll bring the wine. The final showdown wasn't planned. Not exactly. But it happened at the worst possible moment for Marcus, which made it the perfect moment for me. Brooke, the nice PR girl from brunch, was throwing a housewarming party. She'd invited me separately from Marcus, saying she really enjoyed talking to me and wanted to stay friends, regardless of what happens. Smart girl. I told Marcus about the party. He perked up immediately. That's good, he said. We need to be seen together. People have been talking. Talking? Like we're having problems or something. It's ridiculous. We're having problems. Yeah, but they don't need to know that. He flashed his old charming smile. Come on, babe. One night. We show up, act normal, and everyone stops with the weird vibes. Deal? I should have said no, but I wanted him there. Needed him there.
Deal, I said.
Brooke's new condo was beautiful, modern, clean, just expensive enough to impress without being obnoxious. Maybe 40 people showed up. Simone came as my +1, again. You sure about this? She whispered as we walked in. Very sure. Marcus arrived 20 minutes later, taking an Uber. He looked nervous, scanning the room for familiar faces. Found me. Relaxed. Hey, babe, he said, kissing my cheek. You look great. I wore jeans and a nice blouse. Nothing special. Because I wasn't performing anymore. The party was pleasant. Brooke introduced me to her friends, normal people with normal jobs who talked about normal things. No one asked about my rent situation. No one implied I was using anyone. It was refreshing. Marcus tried to schmooze. Laughed too loud at jokes. Name-dropped his dad's dealership. Mentioned his temporary transportation situation like it was a charming anecdote. People smiled politely and moved away. Around 9 p.m., someone knocked on the door. Brooke answered. 2 men in uniforms. Official-looking. Holding clipboards. We're looking for Marcus Chen, one said. Is he here? The room went quiet. Marcus's face drained of color. What's going on? Sir, we need to discuss your vehicle lease account. You've ignored multiple attempts at contact. I don't have a car anymore, Marcus said. You already took it. We're aware. But there's still a balance owed on early termination fees and damages. Damages? What damages? Excessive wear, unreported accidents, missed maintenance. The total comes to, can we not do this here? Marcus's voice was strained. Everyone was watching. Brooke looked mortified. Simone looked delighted. I looked calm. We've been trying to reach you for weeks, sir, the man continued. If you don't arrange payment, we'll have to proceed with collections. I'm working on it, Marcus said. I just need time. You've had time. The standoff stretched. Awkward. Horrible. Then Marcus turned to me.
Jordan.
Can you help me out? Just this once? I'll pay you back. Every eye in the room turned to me. I could have said no. Could have left it there. But I'd been waiting for this. Actually, I said, pulling my phone from my bag. I can't. Jordan. Because I just closed on a house. Silence. What? Marcus said. A townhouse in the historic district. 3 bedrooms, original hardwoods, backyard with a cherry tree. Closed last Thursday. It's mine. Fully mine. Simone started grinning. You what? Marcus's face was doing something complicated. Confusion. Disbelief. Anger. I bought a house, I said clearly. Saved for 2 years. Got pre-approved on my own credit. Put 20% down. My name's on the deed. Just mine. But you said you couldn't afford. I never said that. You assumed. The room was dead silent. You've been planning this, Marcus said. While living with me. Using me. Using you? I laughed. Actually laughed. Marcus. You called me a gold digger. You said I'd be homeless without you. You humiliated me in front of everyone. I said I was sorry. You weren't though. You were just sorry people called you out. I gave you a place to live. And I gave you rent money, grocery money, my time, my support, and my dignity. We're more than even. Brooke made a small noise that might have been a suppressed cheer. Marcus looked around the room, seeking allies. Found none. So, what? You're just leaving, he said. After everything? I left already, I said. I've been moving my stuff out for 3 weeks. I just came tonight to say goodbye. Goodbye.
To Brooke.
And the few people here I actually like. I looked at him. You were never part of my plan, Marcus. You were just there. The men with clipboards shifted uncomfortably. Marcus's face went red. You're a fucking bitch. Maybe, I said. But I'm a bitch with a house. Simone burst out laughing. Someone else joined in. Then someone else. And Marcus, proud, arrogant, broke Marcus, stood there, humiliated, while the room watched him crumble. He left without another word. I stayed for another hour, had wine, ate mini quiches, exchanged numbers with Brooke and her friends. And when I drove home, to my house, my beautiful, imperfect, wholly mine house, I felt lighter than I had in years. The next morning, Marcus texted me 17 times. I blocked him after the 5th. Simone sent me screenshots of his Instagram stories, rambling, bitter rants about fake people and snakes that got progressively more unhinged before he deleted them. He's spiraling, Simone said when she called.
Let him, I said.
I was painting the living room, phone on speaker, covered in sage green. You're not even a little sad?
I paused, considered.
No, I said. I'm relieved. And I was. The townhouse needed work, but it was mine to work on.
I
spent weekends sanding floors, updating light fixtures, planting flowers in the backyard. My mom came over and cried when she saw the kitchen. My brother helped me build shelves. Simone hosted a divorce party, even though we'd never been married, with cheap wine and a piñata shaped like a BMW. My real estate career took off. Turns out, when you're not constantly exhausted from propping up someone else's ego, you have energy for actual work. I closed 4 deals in August alone. My boss mentioned partnership potential. I started dating again, casually, carefully. Men who asked questions, who remembered my answers, who split checks without making it weird. It felt revolutionary. Marcus, meanwhile, continued his descent. I only heard about it secondhand. Simone remained friends with Brooke, who heard things through the grapevine. His dad officially fired him from the dealership after some incident involving a customer and a screaming match. He moved back in with his parents. At 32, Damien, Tyler, and Alexis completely iced him out. Apparently, he borrowed money from all of them and never paid it back. He tried to date, but word had spread. Brooke's party had been the final nail. Too many people witnessed the repossession confrontation, the house reveal, the public meltdown. In our circle, everyone knew. He showed up at Alexis's birthday thing. Brooke told Simone over coffee. I was there too, having become genuine friends with her. She literally had security escort him out. Yikes, I said, but I felt nothing. No vindication. No pity. Just distance. He's been trying to tell people you stole money from him, Brooke added. That you manipulated him. That made me laugh. With what? His non-existent savings. Right? Everyone knows he's full of shit. Tyler shut him down hard, apparently. Said Marcus was always reckless with money and blamed everyone else. The truth was coming out. Not because I'd orchestrated some elaborate revenge plot, but because when you stop propping someone up, they collapse under their own weight. 3 months after the party, I got a message request on Instagram from Marcus's mom. My stomach tightened. I almost didn't open it, but curiosity won. Jordan, I hope you're well. I wanted to reach out because I think there are things you deserve to know. Would you be willing to meet for coffee? I promise I'm not trying to advocate for Marcus. I just think you should hear this. Patricia. I showed Simone. It's a trap, she said immediately. Maybe. Definitely. Rich mom protecting her shitty son? Classic. She said she's not advocating for him. They always say that. But something in the message felt genuine. And I was curious. I agreed to meet. Patricia Chun was 57, impeccably dressed, with kind eyes that looked tired. We met at a quiet cafe on a Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for coming, she said as we sat. I wasn't sure you would. I almost didn't. She smiled sadly. I don't blame you. After everything Marcus did. I waited. She took a breath. I need to apologize on behalf of my family. My husband and we knew Marcus was struggling financially. We knew he was living beyond his means, leasing cars he couldn't afford, trying to maintain this lifestyle that was never sustainable. And we enabled it. We bailed him out too many times. We made excuses. Mrs. Chen, Patricia, please. Patricia, you don't owe me an apology. Marcus made his choices. He did. But we made ours too. She stirred her coffee. After that party, the one where he humiliated you, I heard about it from Damien's mother. We run in the same circles. And I was mortified. I called Marcus immediately and demanded to know if it was true. He downplayed it, of course. Said it was just a joke gone wrong. It wasn't a joke. I know. I knew then, too. But I wanted to believe him because he's my son, and mothers make terrible choices for their children. She looked at me directly. Then the car got repossessed. Then he got fired. Then we heard about your house. I said nothing. Jordan, when I heard you'd bought a house on your own, while working and supporting yourself, while living with my son, who contributed nothing. She shook her head. I was ashamed. Ashamed that I'd raised someone who treated you like that. Ashamed that we never taught him the value of real work, real sacrifice. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know that not everyone in Marcus's life thinks he was right. And because. She hesitated. I wanted you to know that I see you. What you've accomplished. My husband won't admit it, but I think he sees it too. You did something remarkable, and you did it while being belittled and dismissed. That takes strength most people never develop. My throat tightened. Marcus tells people you used him, Patricia continued. But I know better. He used you for stability, for confidence, for someone to make him feel bigger than he was. And when you outgrew him, he couldn't handle it. I blinked back tears. Thank you. Don't thank me. I'm just stating facts. She reached across the table, squeezed my hand briefly. I hope you're happy, Jordan. I hope you're building a beautiful life in that house. I am, I said. I really am. We finished our coffee. Talked about renovations, real estate markets, her own career and interior design. It was pleasant, normal. As we parted ways, she said, for what it's worth, I'm proud of you, even if I have no right to be. I watched her walk to her car, this elegant woman who'd raised a man-child but somehow still had the grace to see clearly. And I felt, for the first time since all of this began, something like closure. 6 months after leaving Marcus, I hosted my first real dinner party. My dining room, with its refinished table from a vintage shop and mismatched chairs I'd slowly collected, was full. Then the car got repossessed. Then he got fired. Then we heard about your house. I said nothing. Jordan, when I heard you'd bought a house on your own, while working and supporting yourself, while living with my son, who contributed nothing. She shook her head. I was ashamed. Ashamed that I'd raised someone who treated you like that. Ashamed that we'd never taught him the value of real work, real sacrifice. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know that not everyone in Marcus's life thinks he was right. And because. She hesitated. I wanted you to know that I see you, what you've accomplished. My husband won't admit it, but I think he sees it too. You did something remarkable, and you did it while being belittled and dismissed. That takes strength most people never develop. My throat tightened. Marcus tells people you used him, Patricia continued. But I know better. He used you for stability, for confidence, for someone to make him feel bigger than he was. And when you outgrew him, he couldn't handle it. I blinked back tears. Thank you. Don't thank me. I'm just stating facts. She reached across the table, squeezed my hand briefly. I hope you're happy, Jordan. I hope you're building a beautiful life in that house. I am, I said. I really am. We finished our coffee. Talked about renovations, real estate markets, her own career and interior design. It was pleasant, normal. As we parted ways, she said, for what it's worth, I'm proud of you, even if I have no right to be. I watched her walk to her car, this elegant woman who'd raised a man-child but somehow still had the grace to see clearly. And I felt, for the first time since all of this began, something like closure. 6 months after leaving Marcus, I hosted my first real dinner party. My dining room, with its refinished table from a vintage shop and mismatched chairs I'd slowly collected, was full. Simone, Brooke, my mom, my brother, 3 colleagues from my agency, and 2 friends from my yoga class I'd actually started attending because I had time now. We ate pasta I'd made from scratch, drank wine that cost more than $12, and laughed until my face hurt. Speech. Simone called out, raising her glass. Oh, God, no. Speech. Everyone joined in, chanting, laughing. I stood. Okay.
Phoenix.
The room quieted. A year ago, I said, I was living in someone else's apartment, being called someone else's charity case, believing I needed permission to take up space in the world. And now, I looked around, at my walls, my floors, my people. Now I'm here, in my house, with people who actually see me. And I'm really fucking grateful. To Jordan, Simone shouted. To Jordan, we drank, we ate, we celebrated. And later, after everyone left, and I was washing dishes in my outdated but mine kitchen, my phone buzzed. An email from my boss. Partnership meeting scheduled for next month. Prepare your portfolio. This is happening. I set down the dish, dried my hands, and walked out to my backyard. The cherry tree was blooming, even though it was late in the season. Pink petals glowed in the porch light. The grass needed mowing. The fence needed painting. It was perfect. I thought about Marcus briefly. Wondered if he'd figured out yet that his problem was never me, it was him. Probably not. People like that rarely do. But that wasn't my problem anymore. I'd built something he could never take from me. Not my house, though that was nice. But my sense of self. My understanding that I didn't need anyone's permission or approval or financial support to be worthy. I was worthy because I existed. I was worthy because I worked hard. I was worthy because I chose to be. He wanted me to look like a gold digger. Instead, he dug his own grave while I built my own home. And I never felt richer.